Listen, he's not wrong. Why are you laughing, Michael? Why
No.
are you laughing at Ben?
No, I like it because the number is going to keep going up. You know, we're 20-point dogs, you know. They favored by like 4 touchdowns. It's going to keep going. I like the exaggeration. I like how it keeps going up. Keep this thing going.
Well, but this is the thing. It's unfamiliar territory for the Steelers. You're talking about, Titletown and our boy Willie Colon, who started his career in Pittsburgh, blocked for Ben Roethlisberger for a number of years. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're in Titletown or you're in Pittsburgh, and the standard is the standard, which is championships, and yet it comes down to the end of the last game of the season to get into the playoffs when Heinz Field has already said goodbye to Ben Roethlisberger. This is his swan song. Mike Tomlin fell asleep during the game, for crying out loud. This is unfamiliar territory to be an underdog. So I imagine this is the best thing that could happen for Pittsburgh is to go into this embracing that underdog, right, Willie? That underdog role.
Well, I got to correct you. They was back here in 2005 where they were 6th seed, and they had to go to Denver, and they beat Denver. They made the run, and they actually went to the Super Bowl. So this isn't unfamiliar territory, and that's why you hear the sarcasm in Ben's voice, because he's been here. He's had to, at some point, put the town on his back with a very good defense, in which he has right now, and really make hay. And to his point, it is what it is. The numbers, the lines, everything's the naysayers are going what they say. But when you roll the ball out there on Sunday and it's another man against another man, you got to chalk it up. It's will over want. And so that'll be decided on Sunday.
But let me just correct myself. Not unfamiliar territory in terms of being a wild card or taking a long road. I mean unfamiliar territory in terms of playing with house money. Look, I'm not in Pittsburgh. You're closer to it than I am. I guess what I'm saying is in Pittsburgh, there's the expectations that you're competing for a championship. Nobody expects this Steelers team to compete for a championship. So it feels like it's all gravy. Like they got extra time with Ben. One more playoff opportunity with Ben with no preseason or even regular season expectation that they're actually contend. That's more what I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you from that aspect, but I think the standard, to your point, is a standard. Anytime you put on a black and gold helmet, the standard is you're competing for a Super Bowl. We don't celebrate division wins. They don't celebrate playoff wins. They celebrate Super Bowls. So no matter how you get there, if you got a spot at the table, it's your spot. Now, what you do with it is up to you. And I think right now their mindset is nobody's giving them a shot. Everybody's already counting them out. Everybody's kind of seeing this as a kind of an encore game for Big Ben. But I think I know Ben, and having played alongside him and many others, they're going to win. They understand that. Listen, in Week 16, they went to Kansas City. They got the dog walked on them, and it wasn't a pretty sight. They lost 36-10, and they lost in a bad fashion. So that's stewing in the back of their minds. And I think if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have nothing to lose, honestly, because if the Raiders and Chargers decided for you not to be here, they would have done so. But that didn't happen. So obviously God is a Steelers fan, and they got another shot.
You got nothing to lose.
All right, Willie. Yeah. I know they got nothing to lose. You tell me, though, going into this game, can you make a case for them winning? Like, you step back. I understand how they feel in the locker room, but for you looking at it as an analyst, can you see a path to Pittsburgh, going into Kansas City and knocking off Kansas City? And it's so hot.
Right. They're going to have to be extremely efficient in the run game. They're going to have to let Najee Harris go wild. Big Ben is going to be Big Ben. He's going to make the plays he needs to in crucial moments. But I think the key is going to be able to can they keep Patrick Mahomes on the bench? Can they sustain long drives? Can they be able to keep the ball clean without giving turnovers? And can they just really try to be the most physical team on Sunday? If they're able to do that, I think they got a shot. But if you let Patrick Mahomes do what Patrick Mahomes do, it's going to get away from him. So, right now, I think there's a lot of pride in that locker room. I know how Mike T is preparing these guys for this week. He's already telling them, if you don't bring your hard hat and you don't go with blood in your mouth and have that bloodlust mentality, you're going to get dragged out the stadium. So I know these guys are going to be fired up. And Big Ben is already at the mindset. Listen, I'm here for a reason. I was ready. The bags were packed. The locker room was clinked out. But I'm here for a reason, so I'm going to make the best of it.
And I know with that relationship and how close you've been with Ben over the years, one of the hands that took care of him, as Dan Marino used to say, take care of the hands that take care of you. What was it like watching Heinz Field salute him one last time and that emotional scene with Ben and his kids and just almost like the perfect walk-off? I remember last year when he was sitting on the bench after that crazy game against Cleveland in the playoffs, it's like he couldn't go out like that. And some people thought he shouldn't come back for another year. I was so happy to see him come back and get that kind of send-off, the proper send-off.
Man, you know, Mike, it's tough, man, because I remember I was laying in bed and I was texting with him. Actually, he was playing, and I still text him. And I said, man, I'm a loss for words, but I'm so proud of the man you are now and what you've been able to accomplish. And you're a family man, and you're seeing it in a totally different light. And I'm glad that this, you know, Heinz Field and the fans were so receptive to him and had a great appreciation for what he did for that organization. For 18 years, the man has been nothing but a battle horse, fought through injuries, did everything he can on the football field to give the Pittsburgh Steelers a shot at a title. He's been through at least 3 or 4 generations of different locker rooms. You know, he said goodbye to some of the greatest football players that ever played a game, and yet he's still standing. So to see him emotional, hugging his family, high-fiving the crowd, kind of just taking it all in, it meant something to me because I walked that field and I knew how I felt when I had to finally say goodbye to the game, and how emotional I was and how bitter I was at times too. And you go through an array of emotions that even with everything going on right now, I necessarily don't think he's adjusted to it. I think it's going to take a couple of months, you know, when around July, when he's at the swimming pool and the grass is freshly cut, and you know every ball player has that body clock, like I should be getting ready for camp, and then he realized like, oh, I'm retired. And so that it's still a lot to come with that. But right now, listen, he got the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. So I'm pretty sure retirement is on the back of his mind. But I think the hardest part for him is really trying to subdue those emotions. And that's the hardest, I think, is for him right now.
Hey, real quick, I do want to just follow up on something you just said, just on a personal level, man, because I've known you for a long time.
Yes, sir.
And you've transitioned, you know, for outside looking in, you transitioned wonderfully from finishing your career with the Jets a few years back to your work in broadcasting. You said, you know, there was some bitterness when it was over for you. What do you mean by that? What was bitter about your end in particular?
Well, Mike, I wasn't necessarily ready to go. You know what I mean? In my mind, I wanted to play till, you know, obviously I couldn't play it, and that's what happened. But I still felt I had attained enough information about the game. I knew who I was as a ball player. I still had a lot of hunger and fight. I look forward to training in the off season. I look forward
32?
to. I was 32. I was accustomed to seeing my family in the stands. My whole identity and who I was as a football player was on the field, and so walking away was extremely tough because in 2015, you know, when I was with the Jets, we had Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, we had Nick Mango, Brickashaw Ferguson. We had so many guys who had played football at a high level that I felt if I was healthy and if I had completed a full year there, we could have made we could have did some things, and I was still prepared to do some things. But you know, my knees went south, man. I was in bad shape, and I had to have a real conversation with myself and doctors. And my wife was like, "Hey, big fella, this is it. You know, I'm more worried about you life after football than the football player itself." So I had to really have a conversation with God, and ultimately I had to hang it up. But I was bitter for a while, even with all the opportunities that were coming my way, Mike. I was still like, this ain't me. You know, I'm not talking about the game. I played the game. It took a while to kind of really come along and adjust to that, because a lot of times when I was frustrated, I was really frustrated that I wasn't on the field, and I was bitter. And it took a lot of self-reflection and healing, and just appreciate how far I had came.
You know, I'm glad you shared that, and I'm glad that you've gone through it, and you can even look back and see where you were in your journey. And I'm wondering if you could say a word to somebody in your position, a player who has always looked at himself, hey, I'm a pro football player, that's what I do, and now it's time to do something else. What would you say to encourage them so they could get from one phase of their lives to the next phase? Like, what's the best way to handle that situation?
I think the biggest thing that helped me was the ability to let go. And the easiest way to let go is taking it day by day, still having the same professional mindset that you took on the football field to whatever venture you take on. And for me, I knew I was, you know, I did a spot on SNY, and I remember walking off the set, and I didn't like the way I sounded. I necessarily didn't like the way I looked either. And I was talking to my wife at the time about it, And she was like, well, give us some time. You haven't been on the air. Like, you know, you're on set with people who've been doing this for years. And so what I took from that was I became competitive, and I developed a passion for it. So I started working at it, and I started working about my delivery and what I wanted to talk about, having personality, my energy, and really trying to hone in and kind of shave down things that I wanted to do on air and how I want to present myself. And then I said, hey, I think I kind of like this. I kind of like, you know, talking about sports and overall life and life in sports and everything that comes along with that. And so I had to let go, and I had to let go of what people had to say about me or what I had to say about myself. I just had to kind of go through the process. You just got to go through the fire, and I was able to do that. And I hope people do that too.
That's a word right there. I know you haven't let go of your resentment and your hatred of AFC North foes. So I like to quickly kind of take stock of the rest of the division. You know, like we talk about this being a transition year of sorts, process at quarterback, at least for Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, the Bengals, they're doing this, you know, with Burrow and Chase in the gang. Cleveland, you know, kind of we'll see. Rocky relation. Yeah, you know, that's the perfect. Yeah, that face says it all. Exactly. It's like, you know. And then Baltimore looked like Baltimore's going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. You know, Lamar Jackson still got a contract to work out. They got some questions to answer about that offense. So just when you look at the landscape of the AFC North in particular, you know, Pittsburgh back in the playoffs, a familiar place. Cincinnati, the division champ. How do you assess these 4 teams going forward, if you will?
Well, I'm going to start with Cincinnati. I love Joe Burrows. When he was in LSU, I felt like he had the moxie, he had the confidence, and he had the ability to do whatever he wanted to do on the football field. And I think if you watch him at a national championship game, you know he was ready for the big stage from day one. Now, when he converted and now he's in the pros, he's playing for the Bengals, I'm not surprised that he's having the success that he's having. You tell he's a competitor, he's a fighter, and he has a little bit of Big Ben. You know, one thing I always said about Ben, man, you know, he would sell his soul to win one game on Sunday. He just had that fire. He doesn't lose. He doesn't want to lose. And so I think the Bengals are in the right position. Now, as far as the Browns, you know, the problem with the Browns is they don't know what to do with Baker Mayfield. You know, this was a team when you walked into the season, it was Super Bowl or bust. They had the defense. They had a number of things in place. And then they had the little, I guess, limbo period where they were going through with OBJ and Baker. Now OBJ is in L.A. living his best life. Baker being dinged up and really having, you know, they lost 4 of the last 7 towards the end of that season, of this season, excuse me. And now they're kind of like, all right, who are we? You know, we've taken a step back. So our defense hasn't performed at a high level. Ballot Myles Garrett has been a stud for them, but they still really haven't gone over the top and be that elite defense that they hope they could be. Baker has been stagnant. The offense hasn't gone anywhere. So there's a lot of questions to be had. Is the future for the Cleveland Browns? I don't know. I know a lot of reports he sat down with the coach, and you know, he looks like he's going to be there next year, but I think they need to start looking for plan B for Baker Mayfield. Now, as far as Baltimore, the big problem with Baltimore, they had so many injuries early in their season that it was hard for them to get going. And Lamar kind of carried a little bit, and they started coming along. But I think the biggest loss they suffered this year was against the Dolphins on Thursday night. Lamar threw 4 interceptions, and boom, they just haven't been able to recover. And obviously you can go back to, you know, John Harbaugh and 2-point conversions and all that nonsense. But the bottom line, the Ravens have extremely underperformed. But I think they're going to be okay. It's just a matter of those guys getting healthy and figuring out some contracts. I know Brandon Williams, the big nose tackle, he's making a lot of money for the Baltimore Ravens. And so they have to figure out what they're going to do with his contract. And Calais Campbell's going to probably be gone. I mean, he's a little long in the tooth. So, and they got to get healthy. But Patrick McQueen, I think he's going to be a stud ball player along with Marlon Humphrey. So, but as far as the Steelers, man, they're going to do what they do. They're going to figure it out. One thing Mike Thompson is going to do, I say this all the time, and I don't think he gets talked enough about when you talk about coaches. He's a one coach that has intangibles, right? When you talk about intangibles, it's usually a ball player, what he can do on the court or on the field. Mike Tomlin has a lot of intangibles that can carry a team. You talk about how he communicates with players, his no-nonsense approach, his ability to make things work even when things don't seem like it could work, and his ability to not only call his players, but his position coaches. Like, he's a very thorough and authentic dude. And so when you see these little intangibles and you see him kind of say, hey, I don't mind playing this guy. I don't mind giving this guy a chance. When he got to the Pittsburgh Steelers, At that time I was already completed my rookie year, but I was a 4th rounder from Hofstra, who I don't even have a program no more. But he went to William and Mary, and he goes, I see something in this kid. I'm gonna give him a shot. And by the way, he didn't say I'm gonna give you multiple shots. He said I'm gonna give you 1 shot. And so he's that type of coach. He knows how to motivate guys, and he knows how to kind of not get in his own way. He's not even afraid to call himself out when he's not doing things at a high level. So I think the Steelers are going to be okay. It's just a matter of who's going to be the signal caller from. And I think they're going to have a hard time figuring that out, considering that Kevin Colbert is retiring this year as well. So it's going to be a little transition period, but Steelers are going to be okay. I think they just got to figure out who their guy is going to be.
That was an excellent, thorough response, and especially your Ravens answer. That was a great SNY analyst response, because we know firsthand that that's not how you talk about the Ravens when you talk to our boy Brandon, our social media manager Brandon, because Brandon, like we all family around here. Brandon has told me how, and you two are very familiar with each other. It's a family reunion right now, brother from another. Exactly, you know what I mean. So we couldn't let you come on without bringing Brandon on to talk a little AFC North trash with you.
You talking about intangibles? The Steelers got the intangibles to get they kicked on Sunday night on NBC to the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Okay, and you gotta listen to Big Ben. He's smart. He played in the MAC. He went to Miami University. Okay, Miami University. He said it straight up. They're the worst team in the playoffs, and they're gonna show it. Okay, and they're gonna show it, and you already know. And hate to tell you, spoiler alert, it's gonna be another bad decision by a wide receiver at the end of the game. So I don't want to spoil the movie for you.
He came in hot. He came in hot for you.
Wow.
Mike, what's so funny about this? Like, Brandon is the coyote and I'm the road runner, bro. Like, he's always going to have something quick and witty to say. He's always got a game plan that he understands. He loves his Ravens. By the way, he loves the Ravens only because of Bart Scott. Bart Scott's the homie, so I tell Bart the same thing.
Right.
Now, always
Bart going to be a Jet.
Always. So we know how it goes down. Listen, one of my favorite things to do is after a Steelers win, especially against Baltimore, I quietly take a picture of myself like this, and I send to Brandon, like, I got you, homie. So he knows what time it is, man.
Well, listen, this and appreciate the LL Cool J look, Brandon. Like, this is a good
honestly, look. Hey, Brandon, that's good right there. That's a good one. You should stay with that one. Stay with that.
Brandon looked like he sells DVDs outside of Rib Shack.
Well, I was about to say we look like we're in the same room. I'm gonna reach over and grab your.
Y'all kind of do. There's that too. Thanks for clearing up that y'all aren't. But no, Willie, listen, man, you and I go way back. I played Boo-Ray for the first time with you many years ago. Lost a lot of money to you and the rest of the linemen in Pittsburgh. But when Chica told me that you were going to be on the show, obviously I know Brandon's relationship with you, and really just wanted to bring y'all together. And I'd love for y'all to speak to it, because I know Brandon was nodding off camera about you talking about transition. You two have meant so much to each other. As men, as parents, as husbands. Brandon's any moment about to have baby number 2. So with the time we got left, Brandon, if you could just kind of speak to what Willie has meant to you professionally and personally over the last several years.
No, man, you said it. You talk about being in the trenches and being at war with your brothers on the football field, and me and Willie got a chance to do that in the media landscape, and our character got a chance to show ourselves, and it just made our bond even tighter, man. We've been brothers since we met. It was just, all it took was a look, and we started linking and having great times. I'm mad he brought up the family. He brought Bart Scott. I was like, okay, what can I bring up that we decided that we only text about? Right. But no, I love my brother. To this day, if somebody claps back on me on Twitter, he's coming back at him saying, delete your profile, delete your life. He's from the Bronx, so he comes extra hard, more hard than I ever would. The real New York dude. So that's my brother. I was really excited that he was able to come on, and he did a good ass job on the show. Excuse me, I'm not trying to cuss. That's your job, Michael Smith. But Willie, come on. Look at you, bro. I see you.
Yes. So 2 things. Going back to Mike in Pittsburgh, man. B and Holley. Mike was playing Boo-Ray with us at the basement of a bar in Pittsburgh. It looked like a scene out of Bronx Tale. Remember when homeboy put old boy in the bathroom? We almost had to put Mike in the bathroom because he was down so bad in that game. He looked at me. He was like, "Hey man, so you know, this is all fun, right? We just having fun. Hey, B, we was like, homie, you better check that wallet. You better figure it out. Man, you talking about somebody that was like mortified. He was like, so we cool, right? I was like, I think you better hit that ATM, homie. I think you better figure it out.
I said, babe, if the ATM tell you can't withdraw the cash, just know it was for a good cause. Because I'm working. It's for work. It's expense.
It's work. Yeah.
I think I lost about $550 to you fools. Exactly.
Right.
Hey, Willie and I ran some people off the spades tables, by the way, and I hear Michael Smith reneges every now and then, but we don't judge because Holley don't even know how to play.
Oh wow.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. But wait, Willie, you wanted to say one more thing? I'm sorry. I think we cut you off.
I wanted to say something. Yeah, I wanted to say, I don't know if you paid that debt or not, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, no, the fast forward, man. One thing I try to do, and I think you're a great example of that too, Mike, man. When you see real, nothing needs to be said. You just kind of, you attach energies and you move forward. When I met B, I knew he was young, he was black, he was talented, and he at the time we were at Fox, and he was kind of the guy who was running around behind the scenes, and I looked at him, and when you see somebody who's like, you in the wrong room, you need to be, you're here, you need to be here, and I always felt that about him, and he's one guy who like. I appreciate perspectives. Like, this is why we watch sports TV and we kind of talk, yeah. But his perspective, his outtake of things is so left from mine at times that sometimes I got to look at him like, okay, I just gonna go with him. Okay, B. But I love him and I respect him on so many levels, man. And I'm just happy he's with two other brothers who are doing it at a big level because it makes sense. So I'm glad he's found a home with you guys, and I know he's gonna do great things in the media business.
He's a very integral member of the team,
yes,
and pretty soon he's gonna be switching to man-to-man coverage in the Newman household. Congratulations!
It's real.
This is a thrill
to your growing family, Brandon.
Really
hey, Willie, yeah, man, good to have you, man. Good to bring y'all together. Thanks for blessing the show, man. Let's do it again soon, all right? Let's be in touch.
Hey, holla, I'm here.
All right, man. Be good.
All right, love you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Love you, go. Love you.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.